My name is Eve, and I have been complicit in genocide. And I'm here to take personal responsibility for my silence when the world needed me, when the people of Gaza, the people of Congo, when my brothers and sisters have needed me, when God needed me to speak up and use my voice. I was silent, and I chose silence out of fear, out of excuses, of not knowing what to say. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. But there comes a point where it doesn't matter, just say something. I just need to say something because I'm watching it and I'm witnessing what's happening and I'm not saying anything. And that's a problem. Like, it's really a problem. Because I can't any longer just witness what is happening and just act like everything's fine and peachy. Where has my humanity been? Why did I choose silence? This is me now coming forth in conviction because I can hardly live with myself at this point. What is the purpose in just carrying on like nothing's happening, turning a blind eye like I don't see murder happening before me? I have the choice to scroll, to turn it off, and to just continue to live my life like nothing is happening. And there are people who can't turn it off. This isn't a movie. This is like literally people's reality. Our reality. Our reality. We are one. So, this is probably going to be one of the hardest videos I've ever had to make, and there's been so much resistance to coming here and just to being able to speak my truth and shed light on these topics, because obviously they're very dense topics and I feel so deeply. And when I ask God to help me speak on this, to give me something to speak on, help me to understand what needs to be spoken on at this time. What can I do to speak up and use my platform? So I was led to watch a movie. It's a Black Mirror episode called Men Against Fire. And in this episode, it literally brought so much light to help me understand what is happening. This is not a war on Palestine. This is not a war on Gaza. This is a war on human consciousness. A war on human consciousness. It's so much greater than what we can see, religion, politics, or any of these things. This is a war on humanity and our consciousness. So I'm going to do a summary of basically what the episode Men Against Fire, what happens, and then we're going to do a breakdown of all of the points in it in which I connect Gaza to what is happening in that movie. Alright, so in the episode Men Against Fire, there's a main character named Spike, or Stripe. And he is living in this dystopian future where the military, he joins the military and they're going out on these missions in order to wipe out a people and protect humanity. And so the mission is to eliminate threats, which are called roaches. And these roaches are like monstrous beings, like kind of like a video game. You know how you see these zombies walking? Like that's what they see in their mass system. They see these monsters that they call roaches, and their mission is to eliminate them, to only kill the roaches, not the civilians. So if they're civ, they can't kill them, but if they're the roaches, they kill them. And the roaches are like considered like these mutated, violent beings that endanger society. Like they need to be taken out because they are this like horrible threat to society. These soldiers, when they join the military, are equipped with implants called masks. And it's a system where they have an altered sensory perception. They see roaches as monsters, non-human creatures, like you would see in a video game, like a zombie. If you see in the video game, if you see them as zombies, how much easier is it to kill the zombies than if they're walking around as humans, looking like you and me, talking like you and me? It's much easier when they're a zombie. So the mass system enhances their aim, suppresses their empathy, and dulls the emotional weight of killing. So they're not smelling anything. They don't smell the grass, they don't smell blood, they don't smell a dead body before them. They don't feel guilt, they don't feel things when they kill it. They don't feel like anything, because to them it's just a monster. Like, but what happens is Stripe, the main character, right, has an encounter with one of the roaches where he killed one. But before he was killed by that, or before he killed that roach, the roach had this device where he was shining it in his eyes, and it messed with his implant, with the mass system, his programming. And all of a sudden he starts here and there having glitches in his system, glitching in the program, and he starts to like awaken. He doesn't know what's happening, but he is made to feel like he's going crazy. Like, he's made to feel like nothing's really wrong, right? But he's going through this like awakening. He's seeing things differently. He's starting to feel things again. He's starting to smell the grass. He's starting to have sensories, you know what I mean? He's starting to then see the roaches as human beings. But nobody else around him that is in military can see these things. And so you would beg to question, if you're going through that, am I crazy? Am I crazy? Why am I seeing something that no one else is seeing? And the doctors and the people that were around him, they kept telling him, like, everything's fine, like, you're fine. You check out as fine. Your stats are fine. But internally, his consciousness was awakening. He was awakening to his consciousness, where he started to realize that these roaches were just human beings. Terrified human beings, innocent human beings who were being hunted down. They were never monsters at all. They were never monsters at all. So when Stripe's morality, his consciousness returns, his conscience, I have a hard time saying that word, whatever, returns, he's sickened by the truth, haunted. But instead of dismantling the system, right, instead of taking the system out, there wasn't a choice for that. It was either he dies with the knowledge that he now had about what the military had put in him, the system, or he goes back to living ignorant. Ignorance is bliss, right? Unawakened, asleep. Another bot for the system to use. And that's the thing, is when he was, when his conscience returned to him, he was flooded with guilt. So much so that he was laying on the ground, couldn't almost breathe, like the tears falling. Because he realized that he just killed human beings that didn't do anything. They didn't deserve to die. And he couldn't live with himself. And so he chose to go back asleep. And that's basically how it ends. But we're going to break down really the highlights to me of what this episode was showing. The language of war. So how the system bypasses morality within military soldiers, right? Because in order to be a soldier, you have to be desensitized to humanity. You have to suppress your moral code within you. You have to. Because there's no way that you could go and kill human beings if you saw them as you and me, as if you saw them as brothers and sisters. There's no way. Oof. There's just not a way. So what the system will do in order to bypass morality inside within war, or within war within each other, right? Like war on each other, war on races, war on gender, war on everything, right? Language. Calling, in the Holocaust, Jews were called rats. In the Rwandan genocide, Tutsis were called cockroaches. In Palestine, children are called human shields, and entire families are labeled as terrorists. Indigenous are called beast. Black people called, you know what I mean? The language. Women are called bitches. Like, the language that you use can justify the immorality inside of you. Because if you start to see these things as less than, as beast, as whatever, you can justify your means of evil, wicked acts towards these groups of individuals, towards these people. So in times of war and genocide, language is the first weapon. And it's not just within the context of war here. Like, every language is the first weapon against humanity. Because if you can cast spells against yourself, if you can get trapped in words, right? Like, words are our spells. Every time we're speaking, we're casting spells. And what you are speaking is putting energy into your reality. When we reduce people to animals or threats, it becomes easier to silence the conscience. Because how people treat animals today is even reflecting where humanity has gone. Butchering cows and mass murder of pigs, mass murder of chickens, putting them in freaking solitary confinement and then killing them, where they are in fear when they die. They're not roaming the land freely. They're not killed with good moral compass inside of them. No, they're being treated horribly. And so if we can reduce people to animals, think of how people treat animals today. They can treat them, humans, in the same way. Language strips away humanity. And once we stop seeing someone as human, we stop applying morality to how we treat them. If we see them as not the chosen people, we can treat ourselves as though we are better, above. And this is also something that's happening within the collective right now, within religion. The chosen. We're all chosen. If you are here living now, you're chosen. I think chosen is a way to, again, put yourself above your brothers and sisters. God has made us different, individual. This chosen language is even what is happening in Israel. They believe they're the chosen people, so they can treat the Palestinians as the way that they treat them, because they are the chosen ones. It is a spirit of pride, a spirit of religion, which is possessing them, enabling this behavior, enabling their immorality towards their brothers and sisters. And you see, Yeshua was born from Palestine, and he called everyone brothers and sisters. Why? Because he was displaying how we are all connected. We are all brothers and sisters, not one better than the other, but all of God's children, all loved by the divine, all loved the same. And yet Christianity, religion, the church has painted what Yeshua's message was as something as there's the chosen, the better, the one. God loves these people, not them. There's some that go to heaven and others that are condemned to hell. Like, it's just like a message that's been twisted, I believe. So language strips away humanity. And I want to talk about morality, right? Because when it comes to morals and how we can bypass morality, right? What are morals? So morality is our internal compass. It's a voice inside that will let you know what is right and what is wrong. And now people will argue there is no such thing as right and wrong. And yet, this isn't about right or wrong. This is about the feelings that you carry within, the natural feelings that you will carry within. There's a divine programming inside each individual that makes you feel a certain way when someone's getting hurt, when there's an animal getting abused, when someone is getting murdered, when a freaking whole people are getting wiped out. Like, there is something inside of you that says, this is not right. This is not right. That is your moral compass inside of you. And this is transcending religion. It's transcending any propaganda. This is about realizing life in another. It's about not doing to others what we wouldn't want done to us. It's literally love your neighbor as yourself. That is the moral code to live by. That is the moral compass. Love your neighbor as yourself. And so these systems are created, whether politically, military, ideologically, they're designed to override that voice inside the voice. They want to override that voice, meaning quiet the voice of morality inside of you, which some call the voice of God, some call the voice of intuition, some call the voice of this. There's a voice because you were created. The creator who created you, there's that voice still. But there's systems designed to override that voice. The systems become louder, so that voice is becoming shut down, literally shut down. And now the voice of political agenda, other ideologies, whatever, bring justification to acts of violence, distort perception, make evil look noble. You know what I mean? This is what those other voices that are overriding your natural system will start doing. And then all of a sudden your mind has been touched. Your mind has been touched. Your system infiltrated. And you could say that's by the enemy, you could say that's by darkness, you could say that's by evil. Regardless of what you want to call it, your system has been overrode. You are not operating with your own conscience, being conscious of what you're doing, what you're saying, why you're doing what you're doing. You are being ran by a program, ran by systems, ran by the rulers and powers and principalities of this world. And you don't even know it because you're not conscious of it. And just a little bit more on morality, if you're still unclear of like what it is. So morality is a system created in every human being that helps us respond to life with compassion, with justice, and with love. So we can think of morality as like, let's say in technology terms, right? This phone is created and in it there's a little chip on the side that you have to put in your SIM card. And like, let's say that morality is that SIM card inside of you. It is, once it goes in, it makes the phone function in a certain way. And so the chip of morality is going to make you function as a human being with compassion, justice, and love. It's going to make you function that way. Now, if that chip is overrode, meaning someone has hacked into that chip inside of you and they wrote a new program for that system, when they override that system and they rewrite your original program, right? The original program is respond to life with compassion, with justice, and with love, right? That is our moral compass. If they come in and they rewrite it with respond to life with hatred, with unforgiveness, with rage, with aggression, with violence, right? That is what you will be running on now. And that creates a whole different response to you and how you see the world. It creates a different perception. It distorts your perception of people. Everyone's out to get you. People need violence, you know, like they need to be taught a lesson, like a difference in how you think, a difference in how you perceive, and a difference in what you do. And the truth is, if morals didn't exist, we wouldn't feel anything. If morals didn't exist, we would not feel anything. If someone was getting hurt, we wouldn't care. If like we did something that wasn't like good, we wouldn't feel guilt. We would never feel guilt. We wouldn't grieve when people pass. We wouldn't care when people die. We wouldn't care when people get murdered. We wouldn't feel anything. But the fact that humans do proves that there's something deeper in us, something divine, morality that is inside a human being. And right now, that's exactly what the system is trying to override. And within many individuals, they are symptoms of a system. The fact that you are desensitized and not feeling, you don't feel guilt and shame for not speaking out. You do not care when people are dying. You do not feel bad when you see an animal get horrifically murdered, and then you go and eat the same meat that you just watched a video on, and how it's treated. You don't care when a man abuses his woman out in public. Like, these things, right? It's not your fault, but you have to realize that this is a matter of you being systematically programmed and being your program is being overrode. That you are not even conscious of what you're doing, why you're doing it, and why you're doing it. You're not even conscious of the fact that why do I not care? Why do I not feel? Why do I not smell the grass? Why can I not feel joy in my body? Why can I not feel my morals? You're not even consciously asking yourself these questions. And that's exactly what the system intends to do, is to get you to that place where you're not even questioning anything. They're replacing truth with programming, muting our humanity. We scroll past death, ignore genocide, and we don't even feel it anymore. We don't even, as a human beings, as humanity right now is lacking feeling. We are not feeling the weight of death, feeling the weight of wickedness, feeling the weight of injustice, Humans are being void, depleted of this right now in the world. And so many people are wanting to feel. They want to feel again. They want to feel alive again. They want to feel something again. Anything. Not even just feeling grief or feeling alive, also feeling. It is literally a part of what we are innate, what we're supposed to feel. So this is the real danger. It's not just the killing, it's the disconnect from our conscience. Our conscience allows us to feel, to question, to smell, to have our morals, know who we are, have purpose and meaning in life. And if they can erase our morality, they can erase our humanity. If they can erase our morality, they can erase our humanity. If our humanity, again, is like the chip that goes into the phone, and that's the morality, if they can erase it, what makes us human? What sets us apart from the lion? What makes us different? If they can erase our morality. This is the wiping out of humankind in itself to create a mutated being. Why do you think that the blood in the COVID time that they were injecting people with this COVID vaccine, they're trying to mutate, shift. They have an agenda that is so much greater than what we can even perceive. Why do you think when we were in school, they were taking our blood at such a young age? Oh, I just need a test to see what blood type you are. For what? For what? They're checking for certain blood types, checking for certain DNA. And the thing is, the Palestinians have a certain DNA that they don't want existing anymore on this planet. They want to wipe it out. It's a threat to their agenda, a threat to what they are trying to push, the world order, the new world order. It is something so much greater, so much greater. We have to fight for other brothers and sisters, for the bloodline that they carry, for the lives, their peoples. It's like the ant colony. Imagine them just trying to take out a whole freaking species of animal. Awakening and accountability. When we wake up, when the mass system in our own minds glitches, it hurts. When we wake up, when we are going through the process of awakening, and if you've been through a process of awakening, then you know the stages that you go through. First, it's full denial. This cannot be the world that I'm living in. Denial, because there's no way that all my life I believed lies and that this is the truth. Denial that there's no way that this much evil and wickedness is happening. There's just no way. And then it's grief, grieving a life, grieving an idea of who I thought I was, grieving the times I didn't speak up, grieving the ways that I talked to myself, grieving what I allowed, grieving the treatment that I allowed, grieving an identity. It's like a whole, you're hit with so many emotions all at once, everything. Grief, shame, guilt, denial, rejection, hatred, rage, anger, and then love, happiness, bliss, all of it. But at first, when he displays it so beautifully, I feel like this movie really displays such a beautiful example of what the awakening process can look like. in a very minuscule way. Like, obviously, you can never capture the depth, and for each individual, your awakening will look so different, and it's not to be compared with anyone else's. But like, at first, his system was glitching, and he was starting to like see the world obviously differently, and then he started to be able to smell things, and his senses came back, right? This is his conscience awakening. His senses were coming back. He smelt the grass, he felt the grass, and then he started to see people differently, not as monsters, but as himself, as innocent human beings, brothers and sisters. And then he started to see his friends as enemies. He started to see that the problem was not in the people who they were taught to believe were the problem, but it was actually in the people feeding them. You know what I mean? Like the ones closest to them that were seeing the world in that same broken, tainted lens as them. And then it gets greater than that, because it's not just about the people who are symptoms of a system. It's not blaming the people around you, but it's actually the ones who created the system, the program writers. And then the rage gets even greater, because it's like, why have the system wanted me to turn against my brothers and sisters who were symptoms of a system? They were just operating on the program of that system. But the ones who are writing it, that's the issue. That's the issue. And so you're feeling all of this, and you know, you can watch him in that process go through every single stage of that. And once, you know, you can watch him go through his process of feeling the guilt from when he realized he just killed innocent people. He felt shame, confusion, alone, loneliness, and he realized, you know, what he's enabled, what he's contributed to, and what he was too afraid to confront. Because even at the end, the man said, like, you knew this all along, you signed up for this. And he was like, what do you mean? His conscience suppressed the truth that he did agree to have this mass implant put in him, that he agreed to see the individuals, the humans, as monsters so that he could kill easily. You see, but he didn't want to remember that because his conscience suppressed it. And once what you've suppressed, the emotions you suppressed, the truth that you suppressed comes to the forefront and is no longer suppressed, you're flooded with the truth. And this is why many people choose to stay asleep in this world, because it's challenging to stay awake in a dark world. It's challenging to choose to stay awake, to know the truth and to still live with yourself, to know what you contributed to and to still live with yourself, to forgive yourself when it would be much easier to live in a guilty conscience with unforgiveness for yourself and the world. Your awakening process is sacred, wherever you are at on your journey right now watching this. And the guilt that you are feeling is the soul remembering integrity. The darkness that you are feeling, the feeling lost, feeling like you don't have identity, it's to be celebrated. That means that you are in a place of remembering more of who you really are. You're not clung to just this limited view of who you are, what you're here to do anymore. Like, you're in that space. And many people, when they're in that dark space, they just want to go back to comfort, familiarity. They want to go back to being asleep, go back to not remembering, because it is hard when it's challenging to transition. But celebrate the process, the dark times, the confusion, the guilt, the shame, because you're finally feeling again. And you're that much closer to feeling alive again, to feeling not just the negative things, but the super highly positive things in life, things you've never felt before, the joy you have never felt before, the peace you've never felt before, the love you've never felt before. And baby, the higher the highs, you know, the lower the lows. The lower the lows, the higher the highs. So if you're low, know that your highs too, like, the more hatred you feel, the more love that you can feel. It's all connected. And what we do with our newfound awareness, because that's what awakening is, it's just us being brought awareness. Because for many people, you're not even aware of awareness. You're not conscious of your unconscious, and so therefore you actually don't have a choice. And you might have been living your whole life thinking that I have a choice, I have free will, but you're actually just been running on other people's programs because your system has been overrode your entire life. And now when you're finally starting to like God starts to come back to its original program, basically, like your original being, you will begin to see with your newfound awareness that you do have a choice now. That you can be conscious of your unconscious and then make different choices. And the hard thing is, though, once you become awake and you choose to do the same thing, or you choose to stay silent, this is where evil thrives. This is where evil can live. It's very hard for God to live when God brings you awareness, a newfound awareness, and yet you still choose your unconscious. You still choose to do what you were doing when you were unconscious, when you were asleep. That's true grief. That's when you really feel, I feel like, the lowest of low in your awakening journey. When you do what you did before you knew what was right, but now you know it's right and you're still doing it. Or not, before you knew what was wrong. When you do what you did before you knew it was wrong, and then you still do what was wrong knowing it was right. When you are awake, do not choose to be silent. Like right now in this moment, I don't care how long you went being silent, how long you went without speaking up, how long you went in sin. It's never too late to turn away from sin, to speak up, to not be silent, to not be complicit. It's never too late. And I hope that this video is that for you. It's just the reminder that it's never too late. It's okay to acknowledge where you have fallen short and then go from there. And real quick, in your awakening journey, many people are not going to understand you. Many people are not going to see what you see. They're not going to understand why you're doing what you're doing. You will feel isolated, feel alone in this, you know what I mean? But you aren't. You aren't alone in this. There are people who see what you see, who are remembering, who are in the process of remembering. And that is what they want us to feel, is that we are alone, that we are the crazy ones for thinking the way we think, for having different opinions, for speaking our mind, for literally feeling. Because that would go against their agenda of making us not feel desensitized, to feel numb, to be mute, so that we can continue living in the world just like Peachy, in their freaking little game that they created, where everyone lives their little lives and they don't speak up and they don't question authority, and they work their 9 to 5 and they have their family and they go to the meals and it's like that movie, The Truman Show. Literally that. When your morality kicks back in the programming phase, and your soul starts remembering, stay awake. Be willing to stay awake. Be willing to speak your mind. Be willing to feel again. Be willing to talk about the things no one else is talking about and sound crazy. Be willing to be looked at like you are crazy. You are now planting the seed for the rest of humanity. Because the thing is, those who are not yet remembering their morality, and they're not yet conscious of their unconscious, are still under mass programming. They are just victim of a system. And it's not their fault, right? Again, it's not anyone's fault. It's not to shame them because they're not awake and they don't know better, or like they're not better, I'm chosen, blah, blah, blah. Like, you were just chosen to awaken first. You were chosen to feel the things that others weren't felt first. That's what I believe that we're chosen for. And if you want to take pride in that, sure. But for me, it was like one of the worst experiences of my life. I'm grateful for it, don't get me wrong, but it comes with much responsibility. And that is why many leaders were called to just awaken first, to lead humans into remembering our humanity through awakening consciousness. And that's what Yeshua was. He was just awakening people through Christ's consciousness. The mind. He was working on humans' mind, speaking about repentance, which is the transformation of the mind. The last thing that I'm going to speak about is the danger of silence and the call to speak. There is danger in silence, like actual danger in it. Because if we're all silent, we're all complicit. If nobody speaks their mind, like, No, there's nothing to challenge the systems. Challenge what we're being fed. So right now we can scroll past videos of dead children, bombed out homes, mothers screaming into rubble, but this is real life. It's not a movie. It's not Black Mirror episode Men Against Fire. This is like someone's real reality. And just because it's not happening to you doesn't mean it's not happening to you. Do you know what I mean? If we rise, we're all gonna rise together. And if we fall, we're all gonna fall together. With my platforms, I vow to educate myself and others about the power of language and propaganda. To educate myself about what's happening around in the world right now. To challenge dehumanizing narratives in media and conversations. To speak up and challenge these ideals and topics. To support organizations working towards peace, justice, and human rights, and to reflect on my own beliefs and on my own judgments, and strive to see humanity in everyone, strive to see everyone the way God sees them, the soul inside of them, to see them also as one who God loves, no different than me or anyone else for that matter. And I know that together, as we rise, right, and just choose to use our voices for the better, we are going to be resisting the forces that seek to divide us and the forces that are seeking to infiltrate our system, to literally desensitize us, to come against humanity and our conscience, right? And build a world where we can be rooted in empathy, justice, and love. That is what we can do together. And they do not want us to believe that it is possible for us. They want us to believe that these powers and ways are just out of our hands, that we have no control. It's in God's hands, without us taking actions towards making the changes that we want to see in the world. So I just refuse to just be like, oh, God's got it anymore, and not do anything about it. To say, oh, I'll pray for this, but then take no action to align with it. To have faith with no works. Like, I just refuse. So I'm choosing to do something about it. And this is just the start of that. So thank you for being here with me and listening. I love you guys so much. I hope this inspires you to do the same. Inspires you and moves you to use your voice. I don't care if you have 1 follower, if you have 20 followers, it doesn't matter. Use your voice. I don't care if you have 1 friend or 20 people around you. Speak up about the things that no one else wants to speak on, the uncomfortable things. Speak your mind, the weird ideas that you have that come through, that you know are truth, that are going to expose deception and lies around you. Speak up. Speak up. Because right now in a world, the ones who are, you're only crazy and strange and everything until one day you're not. Until you were just one day ahead of your time, speaking about things that you understood before anyone else understood them. Yeshua, ahead of his time, planted seeds for all to see, and now finally the world is able to understand the things that he was saying. There will come a time. So speak up, use your voice. I love you. And for all of my brothers and sisters who are suffering across this world, I see you. And I'm here to fight for you and with you. You are not alone right now. You are not alone in this. We are awakening. Yes, slowly, but we are remembering. Remembering our humanity, remembering to feel again, to fight with you and for you. So hold true. Keep fighting. Keep speaking up. You are helping us remember through all of the programming, the systematic programming that has desensitized and dehumanized us. You are helping us. Keep doing what you are doing, because even though you are in the storm and in the war, you are inspiring and helping us. You are doing so much for humanity beyond what even you can see. So thank you so much, truly.